Yo, what's going on, guys? Back at it with another market update with Jack.
Yo, what's poppin'?
Yo, what's going on? So yeah, we're just gonna go straight to it from last week's update, and you guys can see we went over last week potential scenario of week three making open high on Monday and Tuesday, and that's precisely what we got this week, right? We started the week opened high precisely on look at the date, guys, Monday, Tuesday, right? That's your weekly fractal open high. Okay, right into the value area high. Okay, so right into the value, we're getting that open high as we expected. And I told you guys if we get that, what is to be expected? To bring it back inside of the value to the POC to the value area low, right? So from that point now, same thing. We're back at it Sunday. Sunday's near the value, right? Near the fairest value inside of the value. But again, we're not all the way at the value area low like these other times, right? So we can expect Monday, Tuesday to either do open low into these value, right? And then get a rejection off of it and trade back up to the value, right? Or we can expect a open high, right? Open high into the value, into this gap. And if you want to, pull a fib or something, we'll line up also, right? Boom. Right into the GP. And if we get an open high Monday, Tuesday and fail off of that, then that's gonna be our mega short back down again. Right. And as you guys can see, the plan that I have made and showing you guys, we're not just making the plans. We're taking the trades. It's not hindsight plans. We're able to forecast the plan, execute the plan, and hold it down to the level that I said we're gonna be trading back to. So that's the whole point of just showing the whole execution portion of this. And you guys can see my entry here is 74.413, right? And so that's exactly on top of this wick right here, if you guys can see. Right off that value area, plus the open high of the Wednesday candle right off of that fractal time on the third night. So it all fractal. But either way, this is the new plan for the upcoming week for Bitcoin. And then we can go straight to ETH, and same thing for ETH, right, guys? You have your value from this high to the low here. And again, we, failed the value going into Monday, Tuesday, and then coming back inside of the value. So this one, I took a later short. Okay. I took a short off of over here since we didn't have a clean value fail at the top, right? So I waited for us to come back inside of the value with the Wednesday candle and then took it on the Thursday open high back inside of the value. Right. And that was also around a 30-hour trade. And then same thing. ETH did not quite literally reach down back down, right? So that's due to now Bitcoin dominance lacking. So if I show you guys right now, Bitcoin dominance is, like I said, is lacking. Okay, it's very weak. It's looking like, soon we might just fall through this value. And if we do fall through this value, then, then that simply means your others other than Bitcoin is going to see some strength, right? Which is why, hence, you guys are seeing ETH holding, much higher low and not even anywhere close to this POC yet, right? What do you think about that, Jack?
Yeah, I really like this plan a lot, right? So we've opened high the week, right? Retraced the entire move, right? Even at the peak, man, I had a lot of my retail friends, right? They're hitting me up. They're like, "Whoa, bro, like, dude, we're pumping, right?" And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, right, we're smashing in right into what looks like the yearly value area high, right? So it's never a good sign, right? But as Jay said right here, it looks like we can have a pretty good conditional way to play this next week, right? With the open low, right? If we do get that right into, the current monthly value area low, and on top of that, the monthly open, right, for Bitcoin. Um, but I mean, we are slacking a little bit. The POC still is a little further down on ETH, right? It's at that
Yep.
1972 level. So
Oops.
we may need to slip a little bit more here, right, with
Yeah,
ETH.
that's what I'm saying. We may need to slip a little bit more. And then if you guys pay attention, maybe it's not clear on a daily time frame, but we can just zoom into like 90 minutes and you guys can clearly see this trendline liquidity that we have generated. Okay, so all this liquidity here, right? And we have only taken one leg out of that, right, Jack? That's what I was telling
Yep.
people on live, right? We're just breaking through this level. So if we lose this, then that perfectly lines with slipping one more time Monday, Tuesday, potentially coming back to the POC and taking out all the trendline liquidity, which will be a nice, that will be the mega, long trigger, guys. And probably by then, Bitcoin would be at the value area low, I assume. Right? Because you're seeing difference between them too, right? One is a lot stronger than the other. So by the time Bitcoin's near the low, this should be at the value area. The fairest value at the POC. Right?
Yeah.
So that kind of lines up if we do get the open low scenario. But again, guys, if we get the open high, we can also, sit here, fake out, and do like a little bull trap here, right? The short covering. So shorts taking profit with the new week open, for the bounce, and then see a Monday, Tuesday, and then sweep the highs, and then look for failure back down into the POC and the value area.
Yep.
Right?
Even that level that you just highlighted right there, that's POC with current monthly open right there too. So those are the two important variables that overlap. Like he just like we're so used to seeing this, right? That he just started swiping in that area, but what rests in that area, which is important, right?
What's the weekly? Monthly?
No, current. Oh yeah, current weekly. Yes.
Yeah, current weekly.
Which is going to be
See, look at that, guys. The exact level I just said that's the weekly open. So, see, if we can do that, if we get that open high above this level back into the value retest, then that's a short. That's a mega short there. And again, really think about it, guys. In a retail view, in a lower time frame, not understanding value and time, they'll really get bullish here, right? And again, we know that this is middle of nowhere inside of the value. And we have all this resting here and the POC sitting right here, right? So for us, the most probable outcome is Monday, Tuesday into here, right? If not, I'm not looking to take no longs, right? We can't just take the longs here is what I'm saying, right? Middle of the value, right? That doesn't make sense to us. And middle of time. Time hasn't shifted and we're in the middle of the value. You guys see what I'm trying to say? So this is low probability here. Does that make sense? And then once we can actually have timeline in Monday, Tuesday, and have value and prices advertising a nice open low absorption into these levels, right? Then that's clean long, back into these, value high, right? At least. But if we get that open high, then it's very clear that we need to target back down, smacking this low back down, right? Boom, through, and then potentially landing here, holding here, and then going for the week. So we could have a short and an upside for the week to confuse people because we've been having, straightforward weeks, right? Just up or down, right? Maybe it changes behavior now. And, the weeks where we do both moves, up and down, offers both. Right. So maybe we have a scenario where this will be a third scenario. Usually I don't have a third scenario, but in this case, I see a third scenario happening, which is, like a semi-bullish case going in and then not so much bearish, just back into here and then back up for a weekly close. Still contained in this level. You see what I'm trying to say? And having double move throughout the week. So that's a possibility too. Right? But if we just
yeah, we're absolutely dumping as we record this.
Look at this. I mean, shit. Exactly as we're explaining it, that it looks like it needs to slip, bro. And look at this, guys. It's like a live example of how we're reading the market. Right, Jack?
Yeah, definitely.
You literally said that shit looks like it's gonna slip, bro.
Dude,
2 seconds later, bro, slips. And look at this, guys. Look. Boom. And I told you guys that should look bad. Look at this. Bang. That shit's still melting. Oh my God. And I'm telling you guys, I've been holding this shit nicely from this point all the way back to the POC. So that's the target hit now. That's what I gave you guys as target, right? POC. We just hit it. It's funny how we exactly hit it as we're recording the video.
Yeah, exactly.
We waited all weekend for it to hit, but it's funny how it actually hits it right on the Sunday, right when we do the update on the video from last week. And this is and we'll continue to show you guys this, right? And this is the power of how we understand value and time, right? And then quickly now going over SPX, right? The market's finna open in a second here, right? In an hour here. But starting again from the highest point, looking at it, again, like I told you guys, right? We completely lost that value. And again, on a weekly structure formation, right? Low, high, low, high. So even theoretically, like I said, if we come all the way back down here, and if you guys pull the fib to the low, to the high here, you guys can see you have a clean 382 lineup right here, right? Right with the previous structure high, plus, going into quarter two, which will be our major time shift. Right. So if we can actually, push down through these levels, and like I said, we really broke through that value. We're no longer in this balance range, right? And we gapped through, we gapped out of it, right? So same view comes with this, right? At the best, we can have like an open low here, right? At the best, we can have open low, and then, maybe travel back up to retest the gap plus the value to go lower, to go lower. That's the best. Only we can get bullish with NAS or SPX is if we can actually aggressively pull back through this value, right? So displace this value again, invert this gap, plus make a new gap above this value. That's the only way that we can truly have a real confirmation that this market can rotate back up. But that's less likely looking like, doesn't it, Jack?
Yeah, it's
At this
looking,
point.
yeah, no, I mean, even so far, right, in this month, right, out of the year, right? This month has already shifted our current yearly POC down, another few hundred points from what it was before the start of this month, right? So that all that's telling us, bro, is that there's downward momentum coming through, right? This week, which then reflects to the month, right? And then reflects to the yearly, right? And it branches out just like the fractals do, right? So what we're seeing on the weekly, right? Zoom out, look for that on the monthly, then boom, zoom out again, look on that for the, quarterly, whatever you need to do. But I agree. I really do think that I'm ready to look for longs if we do get that, Monday, Tuesday open low, right? Because now we're going to be below, right? Bitcoin's what was that? Monthly or current yearly POC, right? So I'll be ready to look long for there. But as same goes for NQ, right? If we get that open low, right, off market open, we would want to look for the longs back up to what would be our lower high, right? So
Yep. So it's very clear and straightforward with SPX here. And then quickly going over NAS too. And you guys can see same thing, leaving the balance. Right. And same structure formation, obviously, as SPX, right? We have the major high, but it's a little farther, and fib level is a little different with this, right? If we get the low to the high, this doesn't have a clean lineup with the 382, but have like an overlapping level, that high being the middle of it, right? Right here between the 50% and the 382, and we have that structure high right here. So this will be a more like a zone that we would need to watch coming into this level, right? See how we react off of this. But either way, you guys can see this should have just left the balance range, gapping through it. So again, at the best, we're gonna see open high, and on a intraday lower time frame, that's gonna be a bullish move, right? So this could catch people off guard easily. You see what I'm saying? So if you guys do see a fast move going up, be aware, okay? Be aware. If we reject here fast, that's the TP. Don't get greedy. Unless, again, proven otherwise, we claim the value with strength and momentum, right? Which, if you guys do not see that, then again, don't even think about thinking, oh, we're going to the high, right? And more focus on to TP those longs and go into short to the right direction, because by then we're going to have that weekly lower high again outside of the value, because again, you guys can see no lower high here. It has been outside of the value, right? So that's one thing that we have to focus too. You get what I'm saying, Jack?
yeah,
You see what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
We still don't have that lower high outside of this value. We have a candle outside of this value, but we don't have a lower high outside of this value. But if we now
Mhm.
get open high, right, and fail, then we will have that first lower high outside of the value, which will be your significant level of lower high because we're on the weekly.
Mm,
And that means any micro structure in here, which will be, your 4 hour, 6 hour structure going up, right? We're going to have to fade that.
yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say? So any smaller time structure going up, we're going to have to fade that if that happens, because we understand the higher time frame formation.
Mm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
looking at gold, maybe ill can give a little feisty, throw out on this, but what do you think, ill, bro? On gold, little insight. My my boy here. I don't know if he's alive, but yeah, I don't think he's
I
alive.
had myself muted. I
Oh,
think when
okay,
the
he's
oil
alive, guys.
supply shock is settles down and we have final confirmation that oil, swings at the top, that'll be a generational entry on metals, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised to see it down to like 3,900 easily, though. You never know. If this isn't resolved and oil goes double up from here, who knows?
Yep. I mean, look at the weekly close though. I mean, you took that mega short, right? I closed it right at, right before the market closed. So, I mean, it's looking really bad. Same thing, right? That, like I said, that was the major high. A lot of people thought we were going higher. I said, nope. We grabbed the wick, we filled the wick already 50%, 70% of the wick got filled right off of that move, like I said. Boom. Right. And right off of that, we made that lower high. And then we lost momentum. We got absorbed right off of that, right? We absorbed right off of it, and we make the lower high right off that 382 coming back down. And that's why I told you, even when we pull back up, we were wanting to short it. Remember that when we had that little bounce the other day, like on Thursday?
Perfect short, yep.
Exactly. I told you that will be fake, and whatever happens open high here, we need to short it. And that's why I took that short. I put money, where my mouth was, and that's where I had got the little taste of it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was telling you, oh shit, that shit does print. You know what I mean? So just to FYI, guys, I don't trade gold. So like I just started trading gold because I have good reads on it. So I started to actually put the money where the mouth is, but it's really been working nicely. It's been printing nice. So, but looking either way, the point is here, looking like it's not good here, right? Looking like we're gonna have a fat continuation. Same idea for everything. It looks like, right? If we get open low somehow Monday, Tuesday sweep here and hold, then we gotta fade it back up, right? But if we clearly get an open high and then just fill this gap, or don't even make it up to that gap Monday, Tuesday, or even could do Monday open high and then just die on Tuesday. Who knows? But either way, if we get a big push back up and can't even close back above this candle, or even don't even fill this gap, then most likely that's the open high, and then we're gonna go right back down, take this low plus this low. All right, so most likely that'll be our first target if we take the continuation short. Because this looks mega bearish. We know more than all these, right?
Also, just to put a statistical support to that, gold prices have risen 62% of the time in the 6 months following a midterm. So it really does make sense that with everything going down and it's a midterm year.
Yep. So we need to be looking out for those. And to finish it off, looking at USDT, it's not looking good, guys. We held the value, hit the target again, and then I told everybody we need to expect bounce coming. And that line with their idea last week, right? Which is the open high, and this is open low. So opposite idea, which lines up perfectly. And it's going back up into the value now, right? Back inside of the fairest value and above it. So if we do open high next week, we can even see that big drop coming, right? Plus this pumping, which lines up. Isn't it, Jack?
Yeah. Yep. I'm liking how it looks.
Yeah, so that's the plan for this week, and you guys will see how it plays out, and we'll go over it back again next week. And if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, and yeah, we'll tap in with you guys next time. Peace.